Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we have a new product review. There's been a few launches recently that I'm really excited about. Natasha Denona just launched a new palette, which I had to order, so that's on the way. Patrick Ta is getting ready to launch another eyeshadow palette, and his cream bases with each one of his palettes have been so perfect. Practically everything that I've purchased from Patrick Ta has been perfection. So I'm really excited for that new palette to launch. But today we are going to be discussing, reviewing, and going over the new Makeup by Mario concealers. These are his Surreal Skin Awakening concealers. They retail for $29 US, and you can find them in 22 different shades. As you can see, I picked out two of the shades. I grabbed 220 as well as 320. I also purchased the new concealer brush that he launched alongside his new concealers. So we're also going to be using that because I can never have too many concealer brushes. That is a fact. It does have like that angled shape. It's also really wide and it feels really soft. I really like these types of shapes on brushes, especially for the under eye area, because you can really get in there and truly blend the inner corner out, which I have always had an issue with. As for the details of this concealer, it is meant to be a medium buildable coverage concealer, and it states on the website that the formula conceals even the darkest under eye circles. That is a bold claim, so we shall see how much this truly conceals by itself and alongside a color corrector. You guys already know. It has a natural skin-like finish, and it is also supposed to be crease-proof and long-wearing. It's a self-setting formula, meaning that you don't necessarily have to set it with a powder, but depending on the settling that we get in between fine lines, that will determine whether or not we will set this concealer today. It's vegan, it's gluten-free, cruelty-free, and it is supposed to visibly depuff, tighten, and smooth the under eye area for a more awakened look, as it is infused with caffeine and fermented marine microorganisms. That's a new one for me. I don't think I've ever seen that ingredient as one of the highlighted ingredients in any of my concealers. So let's see. Now here are the swatches side by side. This is the shade number 220, which is light medium peach. It's described as being light medium peach. And this is the shade 320, which is described as being medium peach. If I have the option, you guys know I will always opt for a concealer that has more of a peachy undertone, because it's just gonna add to the brightening and the color correcting underneath the eyes. I'm gonna let these two swatches sit for a couple of minutes on the back of my hand, just because I know that they are self-setting, and I also know that they might change. They might deepen to something a little bit deeper than the initial swatch. So I will be right back after about 2 minutes. All right, so it's been a few minutes, actually more than a couple. I wanted to be on the safe side, and this is what the swatches look like now. I don't think that they look much different, right? Here they are up close. This is 320 wet, and this is 320 set, and this is 220 wet and 220 set. Not much different, which is great news. There's nothing worse than swatching a product and then not realizing that 10 minutes later, it's a completely different shade. So that I like. Now, because I have both, I'm gonna use a little bit of both, just because I feel like 220 is a little bit too light and 320 is a little bit too deep. So both it is. And I'm gonna be pairing this with, I'm still kind of debating, like either the Huda Beauty corrector or my one and only. I think I'm gonna go with the Huda Beauty Faux Filter color corrector for today. I'm using the shade Peach. I really like how much you get as far as color correcting with this, with such a minimal amount of product. And if I do have to build these up, I just don't wanna have too much under the eyes. So Huda Beauty for the win for the color corrector. And you guys know the drill. I'm going to be color correcting only my right side, and I'm going to leave my left side alone. Nothing is going to go underneath the left side other than this concealer. So let's get going with the color corrector first. And I'm going to use a blending brush to blend this out. This is the medium tapered blending brush from Sigma Beauty. It is their E49. And this just allows for more precision of the product, like the product placement. And that way I can concentrate on the areas that need it versus the areas that don't really need color correcting. So this is what half and half looks like right there. See, not too light, not too deep, but just right. I'm just gonna pick it up with the concealer brush and I'm gonna start over on the right side. I'm skipping foundation because it's hot. You guys know the drill. I'm wearing powder foundation today because it's way too hot for anything else. Okay, coverage is definitely there. And I really like the way that this brush is blending everything out. All right, there's one side done. I like it. And I didn't have to use the whole thing at all. Now the real test will be over on the left side because there's nothing helping this concealer out. So I cleaned off the brush a little bit. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. I mixed a little bit more on the back of my hand. So let's go over here now. Okay, pigment is definitely here. Okay, so one layer is done and I think I'm gonna build it up, but instead of mixing half and half on this side, I'm gonna just do medium, so the 320, the medium peach, because I'm already getting, or I can see very clearly, there's a gray cast underneath the eyes. I wanna minimize that by building it up with the deeper of the two. That should absolutely help. So I'm just doing medium and I'm gonna build it up a little bit with only this shade. So again, grabbing it with the brush. I really like the brush, by the way. Oh yeah, this is much better. Do you see the difference? Like the shade has so much to do with the under eye gray, like the gray cast that everyone with dark circles, even the ones that don't really have dark circles, we all experience it. All right, next, we are going to set the under eye area just a little bit, like I always do, just a little bit, because I am already seeing a little bit of settling right here and a little bit of settling right here, just a tiny bit. So we're gonna set the under eye area with a little bit of my one and only, my trusty Oma Beauty Trip and Smooth setting powder in the shade Translucent. So just grabbing a little bit of that with my powder puff, look down and set. All right, it did seem to deepen the shade a little bit, and I don't know if I can attribute that to the color corrector or to the concealer, but whatever the case, it looks good. It looks good, okay, set. Because if you compare it to this other side, I know that this is supposed to have a natural finish and I can already feel that it's like set. So it looks very nice and hydrated, but it doesn't feel like it's going to sit well underneath the eyes. Like it just feels like it might move around a little bit. You know what this reminds me of, the formula that it reminds me of? The Laura Mercier. The Laura Mercier concealer, the liquid concealer, that's what this reminds me of as far as the formula. I know that that one is, I think, a bit more matte than this one, but this one has a bit of a grip, or a bit of grip, rather, in the finish. So now let's set the left side, and that will determine whether it's the concealer that looks a little bit deeper when you set it, even when it's a translucent powder, or if it was the corrector over here. Let me just make sure that everything is nice and blended out. All right, so now that everything is set, before I move on and finish the rest of my face, the rest of my makeup, I'm gonna zoom you guys in so that you can get a good look up close and personal after initial application. All right, so here we are, the right side, obviously a bit more concealed than the left. And other than this side looking just a little bit orange, I feel like both under eye areas are good to go right now. All right, so now let me jump off camera, finish my makeup, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Makeup is ready for the day. Let us continue with the day. It is currently at 9:01 in the morning. You guys know the drill. I'll be back halfway through the day to show you some close-ups under natural lighting, see what this concealer is doing, see how it is wearing, and all of that fun stuff. So I'll see you back here in a few hours for a quick midday check-in. All right, I am back a little later than I expected. It is 2:30 in the afternoon, and this is what the under eye area currently looks like. Not too bad. Not too bad, right? I'm trying to bring you guys as close as I can just so that you get a good idea, and I'm under natural lighting. I mean, the concealer hasn't moved around. It hasn't broken up. I think it does look a little bit dry, in my opinion, but other than it just looking a little bit dry, it's not breaking up. It's not breaking up. It's not really fading. Like, I can still see that my under eye area is completely concealed. So we're still looking pretty good. And it's only 2:30, or I should say it's already 2:30. So I'll continue to wear this for another, like, how long has it even been? 5 hours? I'll try to wear this for around another 3 or 4 hours to give it a full day's wear. And yeah, hopefully we're still looking like this because I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Anyway, I'll see you back here in another few hours for my final check-in. All right, I am back for my final check-in of the day. It is currently 4:50. So I've had this on all day now, and I'm ready to wash it off because I'm going to the gym and I hate wearing makeup when I go to the gym. Now, before going into what I think about this concealer after wearing it all day, I'm going to zoom you all in one last time so that you can get a good close-up look underneath the eyes after, I think it's been about 8 hours of wear or something like that. All right, so here it is. This is the side that was color corrected, and this is the side that was not. So there it is. It looks a little dry to me, and it does feel a little dry underneath the eye area, just a little bit, more so on the left side than on the right. Next time that I grab this, which I do plan on playing with this a few more times, I am going to pair it with my Smashbox and Becca corrector to try to alleviate some of the dryness that I feel underneath the eyes. So that's the one thing. Number two, the finish, it does have like a nice natural finish, but if you need to build it up, which I would say if you have severe dark circles, you will need to build it up. It's going to settle into fine lines, and it's going to feel a little bit on the heavy side. It did feel a little heavy this morning. I forgot to say it out loud, but that's one thing that I noticed. And once I said it, it didn't feel as heavy, but it definitely feels dry now. You know what I mean? So it's one of those concealers that you feel on the face. You feel it unless you set it. And even when you set it, you feel it because it just feels a little dry. I don't have anything going on underneath the eyes right now, like nothing that I could attribute the dryness or the dry feeling to other than this concealer with the setting powder. I'm going to pair it with some of my more hydrating correctors and see what I get there. Wearing it the way that I did today, it's not a bad concealer. I just don't love it. You know, I don't automatically love it because of the way that it feels before you set it. It's just not the best feeling. I think that if you have minimal darkness underneath the eyes, you're definitely going to get full coverage with this, and you definitely do not need a lot of product. So that would help to conceal without it feeling heavy. But if you do need to build it up, it might feel a little heavy, it might settle, which means that you will have to set it. And if you set it, it might feel a little dry. So that's just kind of why I'm on the fence about it, because coverage-wise, it delivers. It definitely delivers coverage-wise. The shade range is nice, 22, and I love seeing like the peachy undertones with a lot of the different shades because I feel that he really wanted anybody and everybody to be able to conceal their dark circles. I mean, why else would you put, a peach undertone in every other corrector? At least that's what it looked like based on the description. So I definitely appreciate that because it will help to conceal dark circles, very dark circles. But like I said, you might need to build it up, you may need to set it, and if you set it, it just feels a little dry. So I'm gonna continue to play with it. The way that I wore it today, I would say good, not great, but hopefully I can make it look great with a different corrector. So that completes today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's product review and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future videos. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and share. It goes a long way here on YouTube. It helps out the channel, definitely helps out the channel, helps it grow and all that good stuff. So I appreciate you all so much for doing that. Take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah. Bye.